Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake, and what we're going to make are spiral or chocolate pinwheel cookies. This particular recipe, well, it takes a little bit of time, but it's really well worth it. Once you bake them and you eat them, you're really going to enjoy that you gave them a try. So let's get started. First, start out with one stick of butter, and I've had it at room temperature. I cut it up into small pieces because it is easier to cream and break up. Now you can use your stand mixer as I am, or a hand mixer. It's going to be up to you. So break up and cream the butter. You're also going to put in 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. I'm going to raise my speed just a little bit to move it along for the video. Now you want to beat this till it becomes very smooth and very creamy. You're also going to be putting in 1 egg, and I've had that at room temperature. And then again, just stay with it and beat it till it's smooth. You're also going to be putting in vanilla, so put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. That looks like so far. Okay, I'm going to beat it just for a little bit longer. Now, while that's beating, what you'll want to do is you're going to need all-purpose flour. So you'll need 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. You're also going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. That was a 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, you're going to be putting in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then with my spoon, I'm just going to stir that in all together. Okay, now once this is creamed and you feel it's smooth enough, then we're going to slowly start putting in the dry ingredients into the wet. And do that a little at a time so flour doesn't go all over your kitchen. And what you're waiting for it is to come together into a cookie ball. Okay, put a little bit more in. I'm going to raise my speed just a little bit here. Then put the rest of my flour in. Okay, and now one last time I'm going to raise it. That really helps to clean the bowl, and all the cookie dough goes to the center. So I'm just going to take off my excess off my paddle and set that aside. Okay. And then I'm just going to pull it all together with my spatula. Make sure that I've got that bottom of the bowl, everything combined. And then I'll show you what the cookie dough looks like. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. There's your cookie dough. Now, what you're going to need is, quickly rinse my hand here for just a second. You're going to need wax paper, and what you'll want to do is just cut off a good sized piece of wax paper, and what you're going to do is you're going to take half of the dough out, and I actually sometimes weigh it on a scale because we're going to need a chocolate and a white, and you can kind of eyeball it too, but when you go on a scale, then you know exactly, you know, if you know, which one's bigger or smaller, that type of thing. But I'm not going to take the time to do that. So I'm just going to set aside the vanilla for a second, and I'm going to put this back in my mixer. Okay, and put my paddle back on. Okay, and you're going to be putting in 2 tablespoons of baking cocoa. And that's going to make the chocolate part of your cookie. And I'm going to raise my speed just to move it along and get that well mixed with the vanilla dough. Okay, that looks pretty good. It doesn't really take too long. And once again, I want to get the excess off my paddle, because there isn't as much cookie dough in this batch, so I want to get the excess and put it back where it needs to be. Okay. All right. Once again, I'm just going to bring it all together. Make sure that it all has blended and it has become the chocolate, the part of the cookie that's chocolate. Okay, your hands do get a little messy, and you're going to find yourself rinsing your hands from time to time. Okay, now you need another big piece of wax paper where you're going to turn out the chocolate dough. Try to get that all out of there. And here with a knife, I'm going to get the excess off. Okay, and we can get rid of that bowl. Okay, and then what you'll want to do is just make a like a disc of the cookie dough. It's going to be very sticky. Again, if you have a little bit of white that didn't mix in, just put it between your hands and mix it as I am. And then make a disc out of it. And just push it down with your hands like that. Okay. Now what you're going to need is a rolling pin. So I'm going to grab mine very quickly here. Okay. And what you're going to do, let me push that aside. You really need a lot of room when you do this. You're going to take your rolling pin and you're going to roll it out, well, about 10 by 10. Okay. You want to try to make it a rectangle if it's possible. It can be, you know, a little challenging. That's when I use my knife and I, you know, try to bring it back to more of a rectangle. And the more you do this, you know, the easier it is too. Okay. Now I'm going to put another piece of paper on top of this so that I can really now roll it out and try to judge a 10 by 10. Okay? All right, now once you do that, okay, just set that aside, and we're going to do the same thing to the vanilla. Another piece of wax paper on top, make a disc out of it, and then just roll it with your rolling pin, like that. doesn't measure up, I just use my knife and just pull that back in a little bit. But you get the idea, okay? Because I want to move this along. So you're going to try to square it off as best as you can. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take these and you're going to put them on a baking sheet and put them in your refrigerator for about an hour, okay? So they're going to set up. Now when they come out in an hour, you're going to be able to even, straighten them out more, get a nice rectangle going and that type of thing, because right now it's very warm and it's very soft to the touch. But again, you get the concept, okay? Now, I have some to show you, and I'm going to take them out. They've been chilling. Now, when they do come out of the fridge, okay, like I said, you can make sure that they're in your nice little rectangle. You can cut away maybe parts that aren't. You're going to take off the paper, and then you're going to put one layer on top of another. Then at that time, I generally take the one end with the wax paper off, of course, but leave one sheet on, and then start rolling it into a jelly roll fashion. And once you do that, it will look like this. This is half of one that I've done. You're going to get probably, I would say, about 20 cookies or more. It depends how thick you cut them. I like to cut them more on the thick side, well, about a ½ inch or so, so I don't get as many cookies out of it. But again, as I mentioned, just bears repeating, take this out of the refrigerator, remove all your wax paper, leave one piece, of course, on the bottom, put your vanilla on top of your chocolate, and then just start rolling it into a jelly roll. Now, once it's in the jelly roll shape like this that I'm showing you, okay, then what I use is just some kitchen string, cut a piece off of that. Let me get this rolling pin out of the way. You'll want to lightly spray your pan, and then I find with the string the pieces come out cleaner and easier than using a knife. Just crisscross your kitchen string, okay, and line it up about where you want to cut it, and then just crisscross it, okay, and your cookie will come out that you want. And then just place it on your tray. Now they are going to spread out a little bit, so you'll probably want to space them a couple inches, that type of thing. Again, on the thickness of the cookie that you want to make it. You can see how easy that they come out once you cut them with string. So I'm going to do another one here to show you. It really is a lot easier than using a knife. There we go. Okay, see that beautiful chocolate and the vanilla inside of it. Now you're going to bake these cookies at 350 degrees, and they're going to take you anywhere from, well, 12 to 15 minutes. So I start checking mine around 10, to be honest, because as we know, all ovens set up so differently. Okay, and here's a couple others that I cut, and then I'm just going to place on my tray and bake with the rest of these cookies. Okay? I want to show you what they do look like baked up, but I do want to rinse my hands. I have had raw cookie dough with egg on my hands. So let me show you what they look like once they're out of the oven and cooled on a cooling rack. And there you have it. They're really pretty cookies. They have a very light golden brown on the top, a nice medium brown on the bottom of the cookie, as you can see. And I'm going to, just deciding which one. I'm going to break open the cookie, and it'll be a moist cookie. It's a medium weight. It's just a delicious little cookie, again, with a glass of milk or a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, that type of thing. Well, there you have it, spiral or pinwheel cookies. A relatively easy recipe to put together. The only time it really takes is waiting for the chilling, rolling it out. But it becomes easier every time you make them. And basically, the cooler the dough, the easier to do the job. Well, I appreciate you watching. If you like this recipe, you give it a try, well, leave a comment, because I'd like to hear from you. And as always, thanks for watching Diane Lovetobake, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you soon.